In the headlines, court grants bail to suspended Accountant General, co-defendants. Borno governor expresses fear of IDPs joining terrorist groups over lack of funds. And on the foreign scene, 17 dead, dozens injured in rare clashes in Syria's Syria. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Hello and welcome once again. FCT High Court in Abuja has granted the suspended Accountant General of the Federation, Idris Ahmed, and his co-defendants bail upon terms and conditions given by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Delivering ruling, Justice Adeyemi Ajayi ordered that the defendants shall not leave the Federal Capital Territory and, should they want to, would have to seek clearance from the court or have their bail revoked. Justice Ajayi also ordered that the defendants shall not procure alternate passports until the case is done with, having deposited their original passports with the Commission. The trial judge gave the ruling on grounds that the allegations against the defendants are yet to be proven. Meanwhile, trial commenced immediately after the bail ruling application. The presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress for the 2023 election, Dumebi Kachukwu, on Wednesday announced Ahmed Buhari as his running mate for the 2023 presidential election. While unveiling his running mate in Abuja, Kachukwu, CEO of Roots TV, lamented the state of insecurity in Nigeria, saying President Muhammadu Buhari has abandoned his duty. Speaking, Ahmed said they have built a blueprint to bring back the lost glory of the nation and put smiles on the faces of the Nigerian people. The ADC presidential candidate, who called for President Buhari's resignation, described the All Progressives Congress-led regime as deceptive. The Nigeria Air Force has assured that the Osun Aviation City project will not only be completed as scheduled, but that it will be the first of its kind in Africa. Chief of Air Staff Oladayo Amao gave the assurance in Osogbo on Wednesday, when the state governor, Adegboyega Oyetola, formally handed over the project to him. Trust TV's Hamid Oyegbadi filed in this report as presented from our studio.
The aerodrome in Ido-Osun was used for transporting soldiers during the Second World War. The site was acquired by Nigerian government in 1932 to build an airport. The large expanse of land had continued to lie fallow for the past 90 years, following non-execution of the project. With the latest partnership arrangement between Osun State Government and Nigeria Air Force, there is hope for the Osun Airport project. The state governor, Adegboyega Oyetola, while handing over the project to the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao in Osogbo, and expressed optimism that the project will boost the economy of the state. The governor appealed to host communities to cooperate with the Air Force to ensure smooth construction and timely completion.
I must thank the Chief of Air Staff for his commitment to developing the aviation city. I mean, it's not just the airport alone. We're talking of infrastructure relating to aviation generally. The Air Force base and some other things, the hangar. So I see it as an opportunity to really develop economic potentials, particularly in the area of tourism. Tourism particularly. We have a lot of tourist sites, but because of the possibility of not getting here early enough, particularly transport through the air. With this now, I believe we have a lot of places to be.
The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, who was represented by Air Vice Marshal M.O. Onilede, said the project will be completed as scheduled. He said the Nigerian Air Force would also build an aviation city in the state following the relocation of Air Force Research and Development Center from Kaduna to Osogbo. The project would include an aircraft manufacturing plant, a maintenance repair organization, and an unmanned aerial vehicle production center.
This is a major milestone towards the achievement of all the dreams that the Nigerian Air Force has regarding this particular project. We have, through the generosity and support of His Excellency, we have relocated the Air Force Research and Development Center, which was temporarily located at Kaduna. And we're looking for a very suitable place where we can site the Air Force Research and Development Center. And the governor graciously granted us a piece of this land for us to establish permanently the Air Force Research and Development Center.
Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has said lack of funds to sustain IDP camps made his government to resettle displaced persons back to their communities. He said this during the closure of Dolori 1, Dolori 2, Gubio and Bunagaraj IDP camps in Maiduguri metropolis on Thursday. Zulum expressed fears that the dwindling resources and poverty, if not tackled, may force IDPs to join Boko Haram and ISWAP fighters. He added that the IDP camps will be closed before the expiration of his tenure, saying there is need to initiate a medium and long-term sustainable framework to curb the over-dependence on humanitarian support. The IDPs were provided with cash, food and non-food items as they returned to their ancestral homes.
I therefore wish to seize this opportunity to call upon the returnees to make good use of this assistance and support our resettlement effort in our determination to bring dividends of democracy to the doorsteps of our people. We need to shift our focus from the immediate humanitarian support to medium and longer term sustainable solution. We can no longer continue to give our people at IDP camps. Anybody or any organization who is willing to support the government and people of Borno State has to channel its support through the government of Borno State. There are dwindling resources from the non-governmental organization, especially international governmental organization, to our IDP camps. That don't overtake. And therefore, nothing is being done. In the next few years, 1 or 2 years, most of those that are living in internally displaced camps will join these one of Boko Haram group.
To support the rebuilding of the livelihoods of these families. And that includes now giving them cash support. This cash support is to help them go back to the sort of things that they did. So if they were farmers, is to help them go back to the farm. If they were small businessmen and women, is to also help them to go back into these businesses.
The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has demanded the immediate release of its detained leader, Nnamdi Kanu, from the custody of the Department of State Services, Abuja. In a statement on Thursday, IPOB Media and Publicity Secretary Ima Powerful said the demand became necessary because of the threats by terrorists to take over Abuja and the entire Nigeria. Powerful reminded the federal government and security agencies that the United Nations had mandated the unconditional release of Kanu, adding that appropriate compensation should be paid to him without delay because he committed no crime against Nigeria and her sovereignty. He said the closure of public schools in Abuja showed that the federal government had lost control of security and can no longer guarantee the safety of Kanu in detention. The Ebonyi State government on Thursday denied the allegations on social media that herdsmen were involved in the killing of a young lady in Onitsha local government area. The body of the young lady from Amaporo village, whose name could not be ascertained, was found dead along Isu and Onitsha Egbueze communities on Wednesday. The situation caused tension in the area as the youth raised a search party to hunt for the killers. The State Commissioner for Information, Uchenna Oji, said there was no evidence so far to link the murder to herdsmen, adding that there are no herdsmen residing in the area. And the International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, has vowed to ensure that the police officer alleged to have raped and impregnated a minor, who is also his niece, receives maximum punishment to serve as deterrent to others. Chairperson of FIDA in Nasarawa State, Rabiatu Adra, stated this while addressing journalists in Lafia, Nasarawa State. Abubakar Abdullahi sent in the report as presented from our studio.
The chairperson, FIDA, Rabiatu Adra, explained that a whistleblower had reported to the organization that the victim, aged 15, was repeatedly raped by an uncle she was staying with after the death of her father. She said on receipt of the report by the whistleblower, FIDA, in conjunction with Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Response Team, facilitated and mobilized the police, which led to the arrest of the suspect.
So the International Federation of Women Lawyers, Nasarawa State Chapter, wishes to state that a case of rape was reported to FIDA last week. The 15-year-old girl was allegedly raped by her uncle, a police inspector serving with SID Lafia.
She said further medical investigation was carried out on the victim, where she was discovered to be 6 months pregnant and the baby died 3 days before the discovery of the pregnancy.
So we went to the hospital and a test was conducted. It was discovered that the girl was 6 months pregnant, and they attempted to abort the child.
She also said that the victim is safe and has already been discharged from the hospital, now reunited with her family. Rabiatu Adra said the organization would not stop until justice is served and appealed to the police to ensure thorough investigation of the matter. She therefore said that the team is always ready and prepared to promote and protect the rights of women and children, calling on victims of abuse to be bold enough to speak out. In a telephone interview, Public Relations Officer of Nasarawa State Police Command, Nantel Nimiel, said he is yet to be briefed on the incident as at the time of filing this report.
Media Trust Group is collaborating with the Border Communities Development Agency in Abuja towards the development of the lives of people in border communities in Nigeria. Group Chief Executive Officer of the company, Munir Gwarzo, led a delegation to the agency where he acknowledged the good work the agency is doing for the people. Musa Luka reports.
The Group Chief Executive Officer, Media Trust Limited, Munir Gwarzo, said building a mutual relationship with the agency will benefit the public immensely in promoting the welfare of the people living around the border communities.
I also believe that some of your excellent programs that you've been pursuing, particularly in terms of interventions with border communities, we need to upscale the publicity. And we think the television, the Trust TV, can do a lot. Also being complemented by the newspaper and the radio. So our visit is also to inform you on the existence of the televisions and plead for your patronage so that collectively we can enhance the good work you've been doing for Nigerians.
On his part, the Executive Secretary of the Border Communities Development Agency, Junaid Abdullahi, expressed delight over the visit. He said the agency is ready to partner with the media outfit in promoting human development. He called on the media outfit to continue doing the good work, focusing on promoting social justice, national unity, and being the voice of those that cannot speak for themselves.
Being the premier brand newspaper, especially here in the north, it's not everybody that really can afford to go to.
Our August visitors, even though they're in July, powerful tip from Daily Trust newspapers, our neighbors. I would like to, on behalf of the Executive Secretary and management of the agency, thank you for coming. You're coming to further cement this relationship, this neighborly relationship. And I believe your coming also indicates one fact, that we take this organization in honesty.
The Border Communities Development Agency, BCDA, is a federal government intervention agency established by an act of parliament to develop all border communities' amenities through the implementation of planned and sustainable projects. Musa Luka, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. And still to come, after the break, increasing women participation in agriculture. This and more after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now, a recap of our top stories. Court grants bail to suspended Accountant General, co-defendants. And Borno governor expresses fear of IDPs joining terrorist groups over lack of funds. And in other news now, the Kebbi State government has declared Thursday 28th and Friday 29th July as public holidays to enable civil servants of the state to either obtain or revalidate their permanent voter cards. Governor Abubakar Atiku Bagudu gave the approval on Wednesday in a statement signed by the acting head of service, Sefiyanu Garba, and made available to newsmen in Birnin Kebbi. The governor called on the people of the state to take advantage of the two-day holiday to exercise their civic responsibility so as not to be disenfranchised. Similarly, Kano State government has declared Monday, August 1st, 2022 as a work-free day to mark the beginning of the 1444th Islamic New Year. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, in a statement signed by the Commissioner for Information, Muhammadu Garba, on Wednesday, congratulated all Muslims in the state on the spiritual significance of the occasion and also called for self-assessment. He called on Muslims to use the holiday to seek Allah's forgiveness and pray for his intervention to salvage the nation from the lingering security challenges and improvement in the general well-being and progress of the state and the country in general. Women farmers across Nigeria are meeting to discuss the operation of the National Policy on Gender in Agriculture to increase the participation of women in agriculture towards achieving food security in Nigeria. Organized by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development in collaboration with the Partnership for Advancing Women in Economic Development, the meeting is part of the National Steering Committee's annual dialogue on promoting women in agriculture. The report.
Boosting agricultural production through the input of women in rural and urban centers reduces food imports and develops the economy. This underscores the need for a successful implementation of policies tailored towards achieving food security.
I think the NPC has a project referred to as POWED, which is a partnership for advancing women in economic development. Under POWED, they have a model where they encourage the formation of WECs, which is the women economic collectives or coalition. These are a group of women who are working in areas related to empowerment of women, whether it is agriculture, industry, etc., etc.
And it encouraged so many people to get, but we had issues of having to produce enough, sufficiently, because even at this point of singing agriculture in the country, we are still doing them manually.
Discussions are therefore centered on ensuring elimination of subsistence farming, effect of climate change, harmful practices that hinder women's participation, as well as investment in agriculture as an engine of economic growth.
So the ministry is really working assiduously to help women, because there is no way the new policy that is approved by the federal government, the NAPTIP, National Agricultural Transformation Innovative Policy, that will achieve all the content or the elements in the policy without incorporating women.
The gender policy has been stepped down in the states across the country. There is a high level of awareness among the women across the country, and especially in the different ministries of agriculture. For example, we are working on trying to create the gender desks in the various ministries of agriculture.
Other stakeholders in the sector say addressing the challenges of rural women in agriculture and full implementation of the policies will ease the burden.
We had worked with the small-scale women farmers organization in Nigeria to simplify the policy and supported the smallholder women farmers to develop their work plan, which they implemented by engaging with different ministries, departments and agencies, commissioners for agriculture.
Experts say without investment in agriculture, especially in programs at the rural level that promote economic growth among women, food security would continue to elude the country. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And despite the upheavals in the aviation industry, Minister of Aviation Hadi Sirika is confident that the sector will recover from its present slump. The minister spoke to newsmen at the State House Abuja after Wednesday's Federal Executive Council meeting. He spoke on the day the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, also made positive projections about the Nigerian economy in spite of the hardship being experienced by citizens. Kainde Amadu reports.
The aviation minister was at the cabinet meeting to present two memos. The first on the proposed national carrier, which would allow the country to lease aircraft to start operations. The second was for the deployment of investigation tool by the Accident Investigation Bureau at a cost of over 707.96 million naira. It is surprising to many that such procurements are happening, yet there are operational factors threatening the civil aviation sector. Meanwhile, the finance minister says despite Nigeria's economic woes, it will continue to retain its position as the largest economy in Africa.
We also projected that the nominal GDP, that is the size of the Nigerian economy, will rise up to 225.5 trillion naira, with 95% of this contribution by the non-oil sector, while the oil sector will be contributing only 5%. And then some steady increase from 2024 to 2025 to reach up to 280.7 trillion in 2025. This means that Nigeria continues to retain its position as the largest economy in Africa.
She admitted, however, that the present administration had depleted the excess crude oil account.
In the past 4 years, because of the volatility in the crude oil market, we have not had any accretion to the excess crude account. So what we have had has been gradually used up for different purposes, and it's always used in consultation with the National Economic Council, that is the governors, because this is a federation account.
President Muhammadu Buhari presided over the meeting of the Federal Executive Council at State House Abuja. Ministers of Finance, Works and Housing, as well as the Federal Capital Territory made presentations at the meeting, with 8 members of the cabinet physically present. Other cabinet members participated in the meeting virtually from their offices. From State House Abuja, Kainde Amudu, Trust TV News.
And on the foreign scene, at least 17 people have been killed and dozens wounded in the southern Syrian province of Syria in clashes between armed residents and gangs aligned with the government security agencies. Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said more than 40 people were wounded in clashes, including civilians. The province has remained mostly shielded from the bloody conflict that has ravaged the rest of the country since 2011, but sporadic rallies have taken place over deteriorating economic conditions. The Syrian government is yet to comment on the violence, but reports say the fighting had quietened and negotiations over a settlement were underway. And in sports, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) has announced that the winners of the 2022 Africa Women's Champions League will receive $400,000 in prize money, while the runners-up will receive $250,000. CAF President Moshepe, who announced this, said there is a need for the game to invest in the women's game. As for Continental Championships, South Africa, who defeated host Morocco 2-1 in the final in Rabat, pocket $50,000 in prize money from CAF Women Cup of Nations in their first ever Africa Cup of Nations victory. Morocco will host the Women's Champions League, which is played as an 8-team tournament following zonal qualifiers across the continent. Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa won the maiden edition of the Africa Women's Champions League. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. For more news, you can subscribe to watch us live on YouTube and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for joining us.